Hello YouTube and various guildmates, I'm Hallowed Designer, and with me is Animated Gummy Bear.
And we're powered by TogetherTube, bringing you together with stupid names.
Thank you, TogetherTube. Now, there's no fog of war in this battle map, and that's because, well, I made the whole thing. I am the Hallowed Designer, after all. This is our base. We're defending it, or at least we're about to try to defend it.
Defend / fuck it up slightly less than the aliens.
Remember when I said that my partner in commentary here would be back when shit gets real? Well,
Shit got real, bitches.
base defense is one of those times, alright. Because, remember how I said it was probably the worst thing that can happen to you in the game? There are a few big reasons for this. First of all is, of course, it's the only thing that can wipe one of your bases from the map. Another
Two
is...
motherfucking ethereals.
Oh, yeah. Ethereal base defense is great, especially considering that we haven't even encountered Snake Man yet. But also, unlike every other kind of mission, if things look really daunting or just it goes badly, there's no aborting it. There's no salvaging the base by running away.
There's no abort. If you flee, the base is gone. All those resources, these soldiers, dead.
Uh-huh. The description at the start of the battle was not kidding when it said that this was a fight to the death. Now, the good news is that this base is designed reasonably well for fighting off an alien attack. Because the access lift and the hangars are all grouped together with only one corridor to the rest of the base. Now, this is not the case if you're playing vanilla, or at least not at the start. Why don't you tell us a bit about the default base layout, Mr. Gummy Bear?
Well, you see, the problem is your access lift and all of your hangars all points for the aliens to get in because they are direct accesses from the outside. So the original base has your access lift in the middle, two hangars to the top and one at the bottom. You are surrounded in your own base.
Those hangars are spread out in a perfect triangle for maximum surrounding effectiveness. There is no possible way to make it less defensible.
You have to go through, erase all the places, rehouse the stuff. It is so much time and money lost.
And especially if you don't know about the paying for dirt bug.
Oh, if you delete a base, you're still paying for the land that base was on.
If a room, yeah. Also, this tank scout put smoke everywhere except in the middle of the corridor I was aiming at, but I guess this is close enough. Wow.
To be fair, it's effective having the denser sections at the front of the room. And you got lucky as hell.
Yeah, if that was anything other than a plasma pistol, I would have lost the scout and all the smoke left on it.
That smoke is going to be his greatest tool for this.
Whoa!
Outside of aiming at your own!
Wow, so we know that shot didn't hit Nanami Tatari because he was still alive, but... Roxas Chaos, I expected better from you. You're one of our guild officers. I don't want you team killing. That'll ruin the guild's reputation.
I bet Nanami Tatari's heart just jumped up.
I really need to get him to watch this video. Well then. The general strategy for this map is to clear out a room, then put down smoke, and then move forward. And the reason I want to always have smoke in there is that it's really easy to get into close enough quarters for reaction fire to be a thing. And ethereals, they have amazing reflexes and accuracy. Plus...
And deadliest of all is their psionic capacity.
Yes.
Red's lucky by using a a mod that makes it so psionics only walk on line of sight. So the
Well-
instant these ethereals, an ethereal sees them, they have a turn time limit to kill the ethereal.
Now, this benefit is a trade-off, which is when I get psionics, I can no longer use it to completely destroy the rest of the game.
Sadly.
However, in vanilla, there is a countermeasure to the aliens being able to see and use psionics on anyone on the map, and that is to work out who a psionic weakling is, arm him with nothing, and just keep him in the back of the Sky Ranger or the base.
Yeah, they will typically... Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay, you were correct. Go ahead.
They typically they are typically set to go for the weakest target.
Which means that the psionic weakling will probably be mind-controlled and panic throughout the entire mission, but he won't hurt anyone. And the aliens will use a lot of their turn units, which reduces reaction fire.
Yep. Now then, we took out an ethereal in only 2 shots of 6 hit.
Yep. I think it's probably fair to bring up that this is another one of those missions that I didn't get completely right the first time. And part of that is, well, remember that smoke strategy that I worked out to allow us to safely fight ethereals and advance through the base? Yeah, I didn't do that the first time around.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah. So when I talk about how amazing their reaction shots are, I'm not talking about because I read it on a website or something.
Nope. This is this is homegrown strategy.
My apologies to all the guildmates who had to go through Resurrection a couple of times.
Well, if this goes poorly, we're gonna have to do a whole nother resurrection.
Speaking of things that didn't go quite correctly the first time, the reason that this video took as long as it did was because of a recording error that was entirely my fault.
I'm trying to handle the commentary, though, as if I didn't see this. Greg apparently forgot the memo.
Well, I felt that an explanation was in order. Also, watch this grenade throw.
Who threw it to the second level, and because of how this works, none of that smoke is coming down.
Nope. Because, by default, explosions take only one vertical level. Which is weird when you're taking a look at things like blaster bombs.
To be fair, blaster bombs break the AI even. None of the game's properly equipped to understand how to use them.
But one of the neat things that this game introduces is missiles that do not have the blaster bomb power, but they do have the waypoint system. Also, that was another horrible smoke grenade toss.
I will be nice to you and give you credit for opening the door first before throwing it.
Do you think that makes up for me forgetting to throw the pin out a couple of times?
No.
That is an unforgivable XCOM sin. Well, also...
Nah, I'm just pretty unforgivable.
I noticed a cyber disc up there, which was a bit of a surprise for me. Because...
I think they'd be deploying with sectopods.
Yes, and I think they did that to prevent a base being completely undefendable if they got an early attack. Because it's very easy to not be able to harm sectopods with your current weaponry. The fun thing is, I would technically be able to do it because I researched nuclear heavy lasers, except I hadn't shipped them to this base yet.
That is another hilarious thing is when we get into psionic offensive, sectopods come equipped with their own weakness, and being that they're a 4x4 tile enemy, they can fire on themselves.
Now, in case you were thinking that cyberdiscs packed a punch, which they do, sectopods are even more so, somehow. You can Go ahead.
I was going to say, the only thing keeping a sectopod from completely outdoing a cyberdisk is lesser reaction time, reaction fire, and the inability to hover.
Yeah. Other than that, they are completely unsurvivable even with power armor. And this situation, this is something that gave me a whole lot of trouble the first time around, because those corners that lead into a wide open room are a great way to get yourself a reaction shot as you try to take a peek out.
For some reason, this ethereal is being stupid and not just I'm stomping you by now.
Well,
he could be psionicking you.
The wonders of turn-based combat, I suppose. Do you know that one of the later Xcom games attempted to be real-time?
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. Wasn't it one of the last two they did before the reboot that sucked?
It was XCOM Apocalypse, and yeah, it was optional. You could either choose real-time or the traditional turn-based.
I think with how hectic and risky games like XCOM are, I think turn-based is fair to both player and CPU.
Apparently the turn-based system made a few weapons that on XCOM's side horrifically overpowered, because they hadn't quite figured out how to balance things like burst fire in a real-time sense. Also, wow, rail rifles are no joke, and that Ethereal just no-sold it.
Yeah, you would think, being the brainiacs of the entire Martian menace, that they would be the weakest physically. Oh no, they gotta take a beating.
I think part of it is because it's really hard to hit something important when you're shooting at them.
What is this? What is this? A movie?
That is probably what that would look like in the XCOM movie. Our weapons have no effect on them. Of course, if it were a movie, we'd probably lose our first base, because this is the Ethereal's big time to shine, their debut.
This would be like the turning point of the movie that hammers in how grave the situation actually is. And then by the time the second base comes under attack, it's like the climax would come in and it's like, nope, time to stomp everything. And that's plenty of work for the poor janitorial crew who have to. And there we go.
Yep.
You blew up half your hangar.
You know, this is probably a good time to mention that during a base defense, parts of your base can actually be destroyed.
If they take damage to way too large an area or important vital objects, then yeah, they will just be off the map when you win.
Hangars are probably the hardest rooms to destroy, because for reasons unknown to me, the aircraft are not actually in there, and the rest is pretty much just flat ground. There's not much to destroy.
Actually, they explained that they're using all those to ASAP evacuate the civilian personnel, such as scientists and engineers.
That is a really good call, although if you lose your workshop or science lab, you do lose all those expensive personnel.
Yep.
Or maybe that's if you lose the living quarters. Whichever. Don't lose rooms in base defense.
I wouldn't want to lose a room in base defense, period. If I'm going to have to lose something, yeah, definitely try and contain the fighting to the hangars.
Also, I intend to include a screenshot of the alien containment room after uploading this, because apparently it looks amazing.
It does. I'm going in and I'm doing a beta test. It looks super cool.
That's one of the few cool-looking things that Xcom has. Also, there's one thing that we didn't really mention about sectopods going back a few steps. The reason I mentioned the nuclear heavy lasers is because they're actually weak against laser weapons. This doesn't matter so much in vanilla, though, because plasma is just so much better that the percentage strengths or weakness doesn't matter so much.
I thought I covered that their weakness is laser weapons when I said it's an effective strategy to control them and fire on them.
Well, yeah, but it was a slight bit vague. Also, this version of the game has better laser weapons, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll give it credit on that because it was pretty much laser pistol, armor, med kit, then try and get into heavy plasmas.
Oh, wow. So ethereals are panicking now.
Ooh, Jetaclips!
I thought that those 7 or 8 tiles of smoke were gonna be enough, but nope. By now it's thin smoke, and that makes a difference.
He almost lived through all of it, and you took out a Cyberdisc in one shot. Congratulations! And somehow Flame Blade being right at the edge of the explosion did nothing to him.
That should have dealt panic damage to him. I would not be able to keep my head on if something like that happened right next to me.
I think the splash of heat would be enough, because you're not wearing anything protective for like your face, you're just wearing combat armor.
Yeah, this game goes by the rule of show the good guys' faces at all times. Oh, aside from the usual smattering of plasma weapons, these guys have plasma blasters, which are kind of like plasma grenade launchers. It's an addition in Final Mod. It's sort of a step between blaster launchers and what Xcom has, which is less AoE, but, well, it's a plasma AoE weapon still, and it will kill you if you let it have a shot.
Also, I will say one thing is, I give them credit for adding in new stuff to the game, and I'm not so much knocking them for this, but you can definitely tell they add their own art style to the spriting.
Yeah, like the Gauss weapons that I'm using. Those are definitely
those are just recolors, or just direct rips from Terror from the Deep, which itself even had a different art style.
That is true. But you're talking about stuff like the rail weapons?
Yeah, that stuff. And the cannon on your tank looks pretty new.
Well,
I could be wrong on that, though. I remember the sprite for cannons looking different.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised if the sprite for my scout tank was just completely invented for this. Also, we may have trouble refueling our aircraft for a while.
Yep. Well, no, the tanks in the other in vanilla will 4x4 just like the Cyberdisc.
Yeah, and that's how most of the tanks are here. Calling our scout vehicle a tank is it's being extremely generous.
To be fair, it took a front shot point blank from an ethereal.
From a plasma pistol, yes.
You gotta hand it that credit. It took a lot more damage than Jetaclips did.
Although that was a hit from a Cyberdisc, that's hardly fair.
Nope, still saying it.
You're fine. I'll tell Ginny Clips about your abuse. See how that goes.
He's dead.
I'll tell his next of kin, I guess.
Well, let's hope we don't have any more families to go visit with all that reaction and with all that panic fire. That's not even reaction fire. That's just straight up someone is going freaking nuts.
I do think that it's pretty cool that we're doing so well that even ethereals are starting to panic, though.
Yeah, that is some definite credit.
Ooh, and that ethereal was standing right where another one got shot. Now I know what...
Hey guys, what happened to my friend? Oh, here's the body.
I know exactly what you would tell me if I moved an Xcom soldier right over the top of another one who had just died.
I'd be telling you my exact plan for overthrowing you?
Even more so than usual, yes. Also, by this point I was starting to... Well, I was kind of surprised
Dakota.
Yeah, Dakota's doing really well. But I was kind of surprised because, and this makes no sense in classic XCOM, but I was of the impression that since ethereals are a really advanced alien, there'd be fewer of them than with lesser aliens for the same mission. But nope, this was a battleship packed full of ethereals.
Well, you see, what's strange is the reboot of XCOM decided to make the ethereals the masters of all this, while in classic, I believe they're just another race that has been they're just another race to be controlled by the Martian computer.
Well, it's a little bit of both. The ethereals are definitely in charge of the mutons, which are the Empire's elite soldiers. However, the ethereals are definitely still under the command of the computer, which is spoilers for a game that's 2 decades old, I suppose.
Look, it's not a spoiler that Eris dies, it's not a spoiler that Cydonia contains the Martian computer.
Oh, well.
What is spoilers is if you ever actually bother to use that katana you're packing.
Well, this... I had considered it a couple of times, but this particular map has a lot of combat over wide open areas and a lot of distance.
Yeah, definitely. Though knowing Omega, watch, he would actually try this.
Yeah, well... I've given him... Well, actually, no. Firearm has had a few chances to swipe things with a sword. I'm sure Omega will have some chances when we start going back to invading UFOs or perhaps an alien base.
This all happened, by the way, because remember that ship that Reg attacked that had ethereals on it?
Yeah,
That clued them in that clued them in and completely pissed them off. So if you're playing XCOM, reminder, what you do to their ships, they aren't going to ignore.
It might also have something to do with the terror ships I shot down. They tend to not appreciate that.
They are looking for you just as much as you are looking for them.
But what's kind of weird are the specific mechanics of base defense missions. Specifically, the base defense facilities that you can build are supposed to help prevent this sort of thing. However, if they shoot down an alien battleship that's heading for your base, the aliens will immediately send another battleship. Well, dang. Which is to say, the game will immediately generate another battleship and keep coming until a base defense mission happens, at which point the aliens somehow forget that you were there.
Yeah, pretty much. The base defense modules have never really been something I've seen anyone use. I've never used them there. I mean, it's better at that point to just let them come if you've got a good base design where you won't lose much engaging them, and just reap rewards off them.
Yeah. And aside from that, it takes a lot of in-game time to just watch the battle results as the aliens send one battleship after another at your base, if you actually have a good set of base defense modules.
Yeah. Boy.
I think it's a good thing that my troops mostly took cover from Omega. I think he might be a Psi weakling, because that did not take much.
Also, Maybe they just made him angry about the weapon max changes. Oh, Flame Blade down.
What threw me off about that one is to get to where he was, he had to walk to the left, which means I thought he would have seen anything in that direction beforehand. I was wrong.
Well, because he couldn't use his peripheral vision for 2 minutes, he is now dead. Hey,
Sorry,
Roxas,
Flame
don't
Blade.
shoot someone in the head this time.
It's okay to shoot the ethereal in the head. In fact, that's probably the only way to kill him. That, by the way, well, that shot could have easily gone badly because Omega was pretty much in the same line of fire there. Yeah. That was an extremely delicate shot.
You know what's a fun thing to do to people that are being mind controlled by aliens?
You use them for target practice with weak weapons?
Oh no, I was just gonna say stab them with a stun rod.
That works too, yes. It depends on how urgent it is and whether or not you were prepared for potential mind control with Cybait.
In the classic... Ooh! Dakota...
Oh.
Dakota say, if you had had even one turn, you might have been able to save him.
But nope, I thought when it said that he went unconscious, oh great, there's like 4 people next to him, I can probably save him. But nope, he was only alive by 2 points or something.
The game basically, played you. It was like, here,
It
gotta
played me
save
so
him.
hard. But that was the last one. Of course, the last one got in the killing shot on one of my best people. It's Xcom.
Yeah, however, we did get 2 live ethereals.
And it turned out that one of them is a leader, so maybe I can get something fun from that one.
Oh, definitely. You need a leader, I think, to unlock the Sidonia mission.
Yeah. Well, we lost 1 rookie and 2 experienced people.
What's a rookie?
Oh, that's really not nice to Flame Blade. You shouldn't treat your guildmates that way.
What's a rookie?
Fine, fine. We lost a meat shield and 2 important soldiers.
Oh, okay.
Well, thanks very much for watching this.
We've been Xenofighters Online. Thanks for watching.
And Anime Gummy Bear, I hope you enjoyed doing commentary.
Yes, I did, Hollow Designer. I'll be back when shit once again gets real.
Later, everyone.